Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Strap in for today's video where we delve into a tale of a seemingly ordinary day turned wild during a mother-daughter trip to the mall. This story is a perfect illustration of how patience wears thin in crowded places, leading to hilariously poor decisions. But before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button, smash the like if you enjoy the content, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a juicy story. Stupid and reckless people paying the consequences of their actions. I remember when my daughter and I went to the mall near us to do some window shopping and get some exercise. It was a nice day out and my allergies weren't too bad. We decided to enjoy a walk around the parking lot. As we're walking, we noticed that while we'd been inside, the parking lot had gotten really full, it being a Saturday and all. As we made it to the end of one aisle of parking, we rounded it and went down the next row and back toward the mall. We just talked and enjoyed the sunlight and went up and down a few more rows before moving to the next lot. A guy pulled up beside us asking if we were going to our car so he could have our space. My daughter explained we were just walking and getting some exercise. He smiled and went on his way. A few rows later, I noticed a car following us. Nothing really fancy about it. Looked like an ordinary car, but it did not contain an ordinary person. I'd find out soon. As we end the next row and begin our trek back toward the mall, I hear the car go around the turn we just went around, and the driver laid on the horn. I turned and noticed a car leaving the parking lot, so I thought they were honking at them. We continued on, and the driver honks again. This time there's no other car, so I now don't know what they're honking at. There are no spaces open where we're walking, so it's not like we're blocking a space. As we turn to go to the next row, this car gets right on us, bumper nearly on our legs. Honk, honk. I whirl around and shout, "What's your problem?" This car lurches forward, and my daughter and I jump out of the way. As it gets by us, the car stops. Driver pokes a well-manicured hand with lots of bangle bracelets and gives us the bird before speeding off. We grumble about stupid people and keep walking. There's a security office a little ways up, and we decide we should go report the incident in case this crazy woman does something like this to someone else. As we're walking, here comes the car again. To me, it looks like the car in 101 Dalmatians when Cruella is racing down the icy roads. She squeals the brakes as she comes to a sudden stop next to us. The window rolls down to reveal a blonde with more makeup than Mimi from the Drew Carey show. She snarls, "Do you idiots even know where you parked? I've been following you for 15 minutes and you still haven't found your car." I pretend to be oblivious and ask, "What do you want with my car? Are you trying to repossess it? I made the payment already." No. I want the parking space. Can't you see the slot is full?" She growls back. "Oh," I say as I look around as if I'm just noticing it. "Well, I guess it is full. Tell you what, you can have a space here. Follow us." I then lead her to the security office and tell her she can park in the space that says security only. We didn't hesitate to go inside and explain everything to security. Cops were called, and the lady had actually locked up her car and walked around the corner to the mall entrance. It took a while for security and police to find her and detain her. Thanks to the parking lot cameras, she was brought up on attempted assault with a deadly weapon, her car, and harassment. She's also banned from that mall. Crazy lady gets slapped with charges for attempted assault and harassment. Moral of the story? Don't mess with mall walkers, folks. And our second story. Save money, live better. It was about February or March or something. I was shopping for fabric to sew together a Renaissance costume dress for a thing I was doing. Not going to bore you guys with those details. Now, I was in the country of blue polos or blue uniform vests and khakis, and the motto on their flag read, "Save money, live better." I clearly didn't belong, myself being in a black hoodie and skinny jeans. I was browsing the many extravagantly colored fabrics with the patterns sitting on top of my purse in the basket. As I'm pulling the things of fabric off of the top shelf and putting them into the basket, I feel a bony, hard hand smack the back of my head. This obviously startled me, and I dropped the roll of fabric I'm holding, which was already hard enough to do since I was still in a cast-type wrap from my wrist surgery. I whipped around and somewhat loudly said, "What the F?" in a playful manner I do with my sister, because for some reason I thought she'd seen me in the store and wanted to greet me in the normal sister fashion. Nope, definitely not my sister. Standing behind me was a short, fat, late 60s, early 70s, and sporting the same shade of red from my hoodie on her face. Obviously, my face dropped from playful to pissed off and worried because I just sworn at an old lady, and I was raised better than that. But this was also an old lady that just basically assaulted me, so I didn't mind too much. I began going through my routine of, "Oh, I'm so sorry, ma'am. I didn't realize I was in your way," blah, 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 as I was picking up the roll of fabric I dropped. Not halfway through my rehearsed apologies, this old red frog starts to practically hiss out, "Where the F have you been? I've been here at the cut counter for 30 minutes. Yes, minutes, waiting for one of you incompetent lowlifes to help me." Now, cue my nervousness and my social anxiety getting busy in my brain. I started to giggle out of nervousness, fear, and confusion as she continued to scream, "And how dare you curse at me? What kind of entitled brat treats an old woman like this? I demand that you get over to your station and help me now." My nervous giggling was pretty hard to hide as I stuttered out, "Ma'am, I don't work here. I don't have on a name tag. I don't have on the blue vest or polo or uniform, whatever it is. I'm not sure of what it is you want me to do for you, but I can't help you." This made her even angrier, and she stormed off. I went back to loading up fabric into my cart, and after about 20 minutes of going through the motions of taking out and putting back fabrics, I felt that old toad shoved past me as I'm bent over looking at some sparkly blue tulle because, sparkles. She shoved me so hard I fell onto my wrist I had surgery on not just 2 days before, then went back to screaming at me with the manager standing beside her. Now this dude was the icing on the effing cake. He had his nose buried in a phone and was only paying about 3% attention to what was going on. The entire time I got myself up and dusted off, that old woman was screaming away, "And this little brat kept refusing to service me. She talks down to her customers like every ignorant kid in this generation. And she wasn't even at her spot." I watched the manager with a WTF look on my face, still giggling nervously. That jackwagon, without even looking up from the phone, just says, "Just help her. I don't care. I can't stand dealing with new hires." I was pissed. I blurted out with a loud, "Excuse me," only for him to glance up from his phone, look me over, and give me the dirtiest look I've ever gotten from a manager. "And where's your vest and name tag? Who do you think you are, that you can just try to get out of actually working your shift by hiding your vest and name tag?" I let out a loud laugh, only to be met by the old woman's bony hand across my cheek and another screech of, "And stop laughing. This isn't effing funny. What in God's name is wrong with you?" That set me off. I grabbed the phone out of the manager's hands and threw it to the floor. "I do not work here. I'm on medical leave from my job because of this." Cue showing off my wrapped up wrist. "And I don't know who you people think you are, but I'll be damned if I don't just get it through your heads that I don't work here." People were staring, and the old woman, along with the crappy manager, was just standing there slack-jawed as I finally got a word in. "How dare you, you old bee? Are you just an ignorant, entitled C-word? Or are you seriously just that GD stupid? My mama taught me to respect my elders, but for F's sake, you don't deserve any. And I shouldn't even be wasting my breath on you." This woman looked like she was about to cry, but was still so PO'd that she was still red. The manager took a step back and hung his head, and I'm assuming he was choosing his next words after his massive F-up. I calmly pushed my cart to the cut counter and set my rolls of fabric on the work table before pressing the little bell button. The manager very hurriedly came over to the counter, cut my needed fabric, and wrapped them up after marking the price down by half. His face looked like he'd just walked in on his mother having a three-way with Hitler and Satan. I giggled as I mumbled out in a sing-song type way, "Assault, lawsuit, no more job." I smiled over his shoulder to the old frog, still in shock, waved goodbye, and went on my business. Checked out, went home, and made my dress, and filed a very, very detailed complaint to a corporate headquarters agent. I don't think it'll happen again, and especially not with that manager. Remember, kids, you may work for a store that has a crappy reputation, but that doesn't mean you get to make the crappy reputation worse. And the fact that the manager didn't even care that she slapped you is deplorable. WTF, dude? You can't let customers assault your workers. And our last story. The HOA won't let me build my house. My HOA came with a deed of covenant regulating the style of house you could build and an architectural review board to enforce it. Sent my plans and they got rejected. The reasons they gave were all bullcrap. For example, the proposed color of brick is out of keeping with the rural character of the western portion of the county. The chairman of the HOA was our prospective neighbor. Before the meeting, I spent an hour driving around taking pictures of houses with similar colored brick to the color I wanted to use. I also looked through the deed of covenant looking for other stipulations and took pictures of the other members' houses, then reviewed them for violations. I took my architect along to the meeting. She helped me demolish some of the more technical objections. Then it was my turn. I went through the deed of covenant. Me. I took a drive around the neighborhood. Can you verify that these are all local homes and describe the brick color? Lays down a dozen or more photos. All. Yeah, well, but, okay. Me. It says here no log cabins. Randy, this is your house, right? I slapped down a photo of his log cabin. Randy. Yeah, but that's not a log cabin. It's a log home. And how did you get that picture of my house? Me. I took it from public property. Architect goes into 2-minute diatribe on log cabin versus log home. Me. Barry, the rules say no visible TV antennas. This is a picture of your roof. What's that? Barry. Well, it's a TV antenna, but the HOA says I have a right to put a TV antenna up. Me. Sure, but it's in violation of the deed of covenant, isn't it? I mean, you can't just pick and choose the rules you want to keep and the rules you want to violate. Barry. Okay. Me. And here, doesn't the deed of covenant say you can't put up decorative street lamps? What's that in the middle of the circle in your drive? Barry hangs head. My wife bought that. Me. Gentlemen, are we done here? I had the architect make a few minor changes to the plans. There were some details I'd already decided I wanted deleted anyway that the HOA objected to, resubmitted them, and bingo, approved. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.